Hello everybody, my name is Daniel, and this is my MCU tier list updated with Spider-Man Far From Home. With the release of Spider-Man Far From Home, it is time to do what we do on the internet and update that tier list, update our rankings, find out where the new Spider-Man film fits in the pantheon of the glorious Marvel Universe. If you've never done a tier list before, it starts with the S tier, that is the super tier, that is the Mount Olympus, the Valhalla, the greatest movies of the MCU, all the way down, A, B, C, D, to the F tier, which is the most god-awful crap of the bunch. What I'm going to do is start from worst to best, and in the F tier, I've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, followed by Iron Man 3. And when I listed this tier, I thought of F for frustrating. These are movies that really just took the worst choices and brought them out. I really didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It felt like the bloated sequelitis kind of thing. And Iron Man 3, I like that Marvel gives their directors a pretty decent, healthy dose of creative control, but with Shane Black, I thought he made all the wrong choices and ended up turning Iron Man 3 into just kind of this really amorphous, disappointing mess. From the F tier, we move to the D tier, which I've labeled D for disappointing. We go with Iron Man 2, Ant-Man, The Incredible Hulk, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Spider-Man Homecoming. With Iron Man 2 and Ant-Man, it's really easy. I just don't remember these movies. They are blank spots in my mind. It's almost as if I never went to see them. The Incredible Hulk, I really liked when it came out. 2008 me was in love with the action, and 2019 me is still in love with the action, but there's so much random stuff that happens in this film. The fluctuating tones are all over the place. This is a movie where you're dealing with the gripping pain of being isolated due to this radioactive mess, and you've got Stan Lee drinking a radioactive soda out of his fridge. It's super weird, but I kind of respect it, and it's Marvel testing the waters to see where it would go. From there, we move on to Avengers Age of Ultron, which is just so much movie. It's too much movie. We move on to Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man's my favorite character in the MCU, and I thought with this one, it was just dull. I thought Tom Holland was really naive as a Peter Parker, way too much like a preteen. We're moving up a tier to the C tier, which includes such titles as Thor 2, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man Far From Home, and the OG Thor. I've labeled this tier the needs more hype tier. There are chunks of these films that work incredibly well. Like, amazingly well. But then there's a bunch of stuff that's just dragging it back down. I wasn't really a fan of Civil War. I didn't like the villain in that at all. I kind of thought the whole Bucky situation, if anybody would have stopped and tried to figure out what was going on, I think Civil War would have been solved a lot quicker. Avengers Infinity War, I don't like Thanos. Captain Marvel, I really enjoy for, I guess, trying to play with the origin story a little, but I must admit over the last couple of months, that movie's kind of waned from my memory. It hasn't really delivered on the whiz-bang that we were promised. And now we're going to talk about the new Far From Home, which, when I left the theater, I really enjoyed. And then I started thinking about it, and I don't really like Mysterio, and I don't like the Nick Fury edition. Everything with S.H.I.E.L.D. bothered me. And I kept thinking about this movie. It started to kind of unravel for me. All the stuff that I really enjoyed, a lot of the teen comedy, a lot of the special effects with the illusions and stuff, that stuff works really well, but it's surrounded by a story that just doesn't make sense, that I'm just not interested in. So it kind of dragged me down until I got to C tier. And at the top of the C tier, I've got Thor, which I think is a really underrated movie. It's not anything great, but I think Chris Hemsworth is solid as Thor. He's so charming, charismatic. I love Kenneth Branagh's just embrace of this Norse god scope of this mythology and really letting Asgard shine as this super cool special effect. I just have a lot of fun with Thor. I think it's pretty funny. From C's to B's, from a passing grade to a little bit more respectable, we get such titles as Ant-Man and the Wasp, Doctor Strange, and Captain America: First Avenger. This is where I include such titles that were surprises or just solid entries in the MCU. You saw where I put Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't change much about the formula, but yet it was so better crafted. I just love the jokes, I love the action better, I love the relationships that were built up between Scott and his daughter, between Michael Douglas and Evangeline Lilly, and between Lawrence Fishburne and Ghost. All that stuff really worked for me, and I had a ton of fun with that film. Doctor Strange, I saw it in a legit IMAX 3D, blew my mind. And then my friend started talking about this as a hero's journey story. And when you look at it through that kind of archetypal lens, you find that Doctor Strange is really well written for that. And just because it's using a template that a lot of writers have used in the past doesn't mean that it isn't done well. But the king of the B tier, Captain America: First Avenger. I'm a sucker for World War II Art Deco. I'm a sucker for Haley Atwell, and with time, I have grown to absolutely adore Chris Evans' portrayal. This is Hugh Jackman, Robert Downey Jr. levels of commitment. It's gonna be really hard to see anybody else as Captain America. My friends, we have reached the Marvel standard, the A tier. The movies that if you have never seen Marvel movies before, I say start with these. And those include Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Iron Man, Black Panther, The Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy. These are the ones that whenever Marvel makes a movie, they should look at these films and go, we need to aim for this or better. Black Panther, Best Picture nominee. Just a well-crafted superhero movie with so much more in its mind. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the most fun movie theater experiences I've ever had. Same with Avengers, man. If you go to a movie theater and the whole crowd is rioting in joy and love with a movie, you know you've done your job. But now, we have reached the final tier, the S tier. These are movies that are better than what the Marvel Cinematic Universe really has to offer. These ones are game changers. These ones are the best of the best, the cream of the crop. And I'm going to start with number 2 for me, Avengers Endgame. I've never seen a movie so deftly work its way through so many people and hit them exactly where they live. There is something in this movie for everyone. Not only the people that want to take this world seriously and deal with the gravitas, not only the fanboy that knows every tiny little detail about a comic book, even the casual fans, even the grandma that was sitting next to me that had never seen Infinity War before, had a great time watching this film. And whenever, spoiler alert, Tony dies, there was not a dry eye in that audience. Avengers Endgame is one of those legacy-defining movies, the movies of an era. We're going to be talking about this in the 1,050 movies you need to see before you die challenge. As much as I love Avengers Endgame, the one movie that gets everything right for me is Thor Ragnarok. Simply put, there was not a greater smile, more chills in my spine, more excitement boiling in my blood than watching Thor wreck fools to the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. I love the 80s neon, the psychedelia of it all. Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum. Everything about this movie works, and it's not just shallow action. There's this plot about colonialism, the sins of the father, trying to redeem yourself, figuring out what it means to be a hero as opposed to a warrior. There's so much going on in this film, and it's all crafted beautifully. Nothing about it seems out of place. Hulk is the best Hulk has ever been in a movie. Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner is the best that he's ever been in a movie. And if you don't love Valkyrie, I don't know what is wrong with you. Get your brain checked. So that's going to be it for my MCU tier list. If you stuck to the end, thank you very much for watching. If you have your own tier list, your own ranking, if you have your own ranking video, even leave that link in the comments below. I want to know everything. Let's get into cool little dialogue. As far as ranking videos going forward, also let me know if you enjoy a regular worst to best list or if you enjoy these tier lists more. Go ahead and leave that in the comments below as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to keep hanging out with me, keep talking movies, and we'll have a grand old time. I am also on Twitter and Letterboxd. Those links are going to be in the description if you're interested in following me off of this video platform. And until next time, thank you all very much again for watching. Y'all take care.